Get up, kid. Huh? I said get up and don't make me wait. I felt my heart jump as I realized that my master was standing right next to my bed. I had overslept. I was usually always the first one to get up. I looked around and noticed that all of the beds were empty. I was the last one to wake up. That wasn't good. I quickly got up, grabbed my shirt, and walked towards the kitchen. There was no way I was going to let the lady have an advantage on me. Who knows what she could have done to me while I was asleep? I shivered, thinking about the knives that she had given the others when they had been ready to start their job. Who knows what they could have done? All I had were rusty kitchen knives, which were barely sharp enough to cut through meat, and be assured that I wasn't allowed to have them while I was asleep. I quickly looked at myself in the mirror. Great. I had put the shirt the wrong way. Again. I removed it and put it back on after double checking that I didn't look stupid, and rushed toward the kitchen. One step at a time, Nathan. Made sure not to fall. Left foot, now right foot. Good, my mother used to say. Why did I always have to think about my mother at random times? I could walk all by myself. No, Nate. Don't cry. It's okay if you don't succeed at your first try. Go at your own pace. Ugh! I didn't need help. I didn't need help. I never did. I was about to cry. Great. Memories are dumb sometimes. And they hurt. Is our Nightbug crying? Poor thing. Do you think he needs a hug? The other boys started laughing. They always did. Whatever Henry would say about me. And they always chose the best time to show up. Why weren't they outside? Oh, right. Because I wasn't there to make them food. And humans can get pretty annoying when they, needs outside fight. Stop looking at me like that, retard. Go make some food, now. I looked at him straight in the eye and retorted, Why don't you make your own food, and don't call me Knight? Aw, is Knight upset? How sad. I ignored the giggles and continued my way to the kitchen. I found myself glancing back. Where was that boy I saw yesterday? I probably would have noticed him. His brown skin would have stricken out. Oh well, I wasn't about to start caring about him. Caring led to love, and love led to sadness. It was always that way. Always. I was relieved to finally enter the kitchen, the only place in the whole house that felt like mine. I glanced at the sink. Jeffy tried to take it from me yesterday. Humans cannot be trusted. Never. Now, what was I going to make for breakfast today? Soup? Soup was all I felt like making. It was easy to make and my roommates didn't like it. They said it didn't give them enough strength. I started looking for ingredients. There weren't a lot of vegetables. The boys didn't like them and said they were hard to find. The only vegetables I could find were potatoes. If you could call that a vegetable. I didn't find anything else that seemed edible. The boys would have to find food while they were outside today. The thought made me smile. They hated looking for food. They preferred running after poor orphans and making bets on who could find the prettiest girl. And occasionally, they would fight against those terrible creatures that were attacking our city. I didn't know a lot about them except that they could just do about anything. How cool was that? But men didn't like them, so they fought them to show them that they were the strongest, which they weren't and never will be. I walked towards the sink to put water in my cauldron. Strangely, no water came out. I tried again, but nothing happened. Weird. Is the food coming, Nate? We're hungry, and if you don't feed us, we'll have to find something else to eat. I heard Henry get out his knife, but I ignored him. He was only trying to scare me. I waited a moment and concentrated on what I was doing. If there wasn't any water, I couldn't make soup. Oh well, it looked like they were going to eat mashed potatoes. I started peeling a potato, mashed it, added some salt and put it in a plate. That was going to be my breakfast. I took some more potatoes, didn't peel them, and quickly smashed them. I divided the plain, poorly mashed potatoes into 5 other plates, one for Henry, one for Samuel, one for Jake, and one for Jeffrey. I wondered if Jeffrey deserved a peeled potato. Probably not. He was going to turn against me anytime soon. I took the plates and put them on the main table. "It's about time," said Manuel before putting half of his plate in his mouth. As always, they didn't seem to have taste buds. They ate whatever I made them without questioning, unless it was soup. Maybe I should try to poison them one day. I pushed the thought away. If they all died, I would have to do the recruiting and the fighting, and there was no way I was doing that. I noticed that Jeffrey was looking at the table. He seemed unsure of where he was supposed to sit. Dumb kid. There was only one empty space. The choice wasn't hard. I looked at the other boys. "Bring back some food when you go outside, vegetables and meat," I said before turning away and going back in the kitchen. I heard them yell that they didn't want to go look for food, but I knew that they would still do it. They needed to eat something after all. I knew they were going to bring back meat. They loved killing defenseless animals, but it was unlikely that they would get any vegetables. They only found them the days after our master told them that we needed them. I sat at my own personal table in the kitchen and started eating. I heard footsteps and saw Jeffrey standing in the doorway. "Can I eat here?" I was tempted to say no, but I didn't feel like talking. I watched him take a seat next to me, and I turned my head so that he wouldn't catch my eye. I felt him look at my plate, then at his. I expected him to complain, but he didn't say anything. I continued eating my food, quietly wishing that Jeffrey would leave soon, but he had only eaten a few bites. "So, is this always the kind of food we eat here?" I heard his words, but I couldn't make any sense of them. What did he mean by kind of food? Were there other kinds of food? I could feel him be uncomfortable with my silence. Good. He would only leave faster. He was eating his food slowly, and even though I could see that he didn't like the taste of it, who could blame him though? Mashed potatoes weren't exactly what you would call a good meal. I heard footsteps coming towards us, and it was pretty easy to find out who they belonged to. It wasn't long before I could see Henry standing in the doorway. The other kids at his heels. "You aren't really eating with this retard, are you? Now get up and follow us. We need to train you before you become as weak as him." I was relieved to see that Henry's words were meant for Jeffrey. For once, I couldn't be bothered by the boys. "See you later, Nathan." Jeffrey seemed a bit uneasy, and I could understand him. When the boys had asked me to follow them to train me, I sat in the corner crying and yelling like a complete idiot. That's what had given me my job and my status. I watched him leave. This is probably the last time Jeffrey will ever be nice to me, I thought. I walked towards the sink, preparing myself to wash the dishes. As I turned the water on, I remembered that there wasn't any left. Better find something else useful to do, I figured. I started walking and listened to my own footsteps on the wooden floor. My light weight allowed me not to make too much sound as I walked. Pretty useful when you don't want to be noticed too much. I walked to the closet where I kept my broom. It felt good to grab something that I was the only one to ever touch. I went back to the kitchen and started passing the broom everywhere. I was pretty sure I didn't miss a spot. I never missed a spot when it came to clean my things, and the kitchen kind of belonged to me. I contemplated my finished work. The kitchen was a lot cleaner. I'm getting better at this, I thought proudly. Anyone who would have walked in the kitchen wouldn't have noticed the difference, but it was very obvious to me. I liked having my things clean, and the slightest speck of dust stood out to me. I walked to the dining room. The boys had left their plates on the wooden table, and one was on the floor. I quickly picked them up and brought them to the dirty dish pile. I then started passing the broom, faster than before, not worrying too much about it looking clean. I wondered if my roommates would bring back the food I had asked them. I didn't really feel like eating mashed potatoes again. As I was nearly done cleaning the whole house, I heard a knock on the door. I waited a few minutes, then opened it to find the newspaper and the mail on the ground. I quickly grabbed them and brought them inside. I dropped the pie on the table and looked at the newspaper. "We won the fight, but not the war," the title said. It felt good to read again. My mother used to tell me that reading made you smarter. I wasn't convinced that the people who wrote the newspaper were, though. They definitely weren't original. The newspaper almost only talked about one thing ever since I could remember: fights. It wasn't very entertaining, but at least it was good reading practice. "Our citizens fought against our foes again last time. The battle was hard, but the enemy retreated fast enough. Stay on your guard, as we lose track of them, and they might strike again. If you see any suspicious teenagers, please report them to the authorities." It looked like whoever made the newspapers always copied the same sentence and changed a few things. Report suspicious teenagers? What for? I took the paper and put it back on the mail pie for the master. If she cared. All I knew is that she wouldn't want the boys to miss the next fight, and she would want them to start looking for suspicious teenagers. She always said if they found one, they would surely get a prize for it. I, on the other hand, just hoped that she wouldn't think about starting to make me fight. I looked through the nearest window to see that the weather was nice today. The sky was a nice shade of grey, and it was almost possible to see the sun. It wasn't too foggy either, though the grass was still wet from last night's storm. It was hard to find something to do when there wasn't any water to wash the dishes or continue cleaning the house. All I had to do was just stand there and wait for the boys to come back or our master to show herself.